So we were talking about Kendrick Lamar, and in his song, he had said a line basically saying, what did he say? It was like, don't let no white rapper, no, don't let no white comedian talk about black women, something along the lines of that. So now these white comedians are coming out and basically, mind you, Kendrick didn't mention nobody, but
if you tune in, if you know, you know.
right. If the shoe fits kind of thing. So the first thing I'm gonna show the response from Gary Owens. If y'all know him, he's a white comedian. He was married to a black woman, yada yada yada, whatever. So this was his response. He basically had like took a screenshot. So the lyrics are, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman, that's law. So Gary Owens said, if that's the law, that makes me a criminal. Sir, you're not funny. Like, you're not funny. But the one we really wanted to talk about is, we talked about this a while ago, and I'm going to play the clip as just a reminder of what we were talking about. Andrew Schulz on his Flagrant podcast, when he had Shits and Gigs on, they were talking about how, just a quick recap, they were talking about how black women, when they date white men, they start to look better. Like, white men look better. They start to get like their beards together. They start looking more seasoned, more like, Travis Kelce, Kayla Nicole type vibe. So let me play the clip for y'all real quick before I show y'all the response.
What is the black girlfriend effect? This is
you don't know about
glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Glows up, bro.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends, they
grow
step,
a beard because there's
up.
more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of.
That's hilarious.
So that was just like a quick, like, obviously it's longer and they ended up saying a lot more stuff, but that's just basically, that's the clip that was trending for a while, that people were like, how could you sit there, like, two people of color, clearly, allowing this black man to say this and basically make jokes about stereotypes and saying all that. And then you have a podcast where you gear it towards a lot of, like, different groups of people, but you have a large following from black women, right? So after Kendrick Lamar made that song, Andrew Schulz assumed that it was him because of that clip. And here is the response from his most recent episode.
Understand about Kendrick? It's very important to him to protect black women. That's why he's never done a song with an abuser confirmed. He's never done a song with anybody that's suspected of abuse. He's never threatened to remove his music from Spotify because they removed R. Kelly's music, who for sure fucked and held captive underage black women.
Hold on.
This is all very important to Kendrick.
Wait, just let me understand what's going on here, because I think that you're using sarcasm as a comedic device.
It is a comedic device.
But you're so fucking smart right now that I don't know if you're serious or making jokes. Are you saying that Kendrick Lamar put it on wax that he is protecting black women from white comedians' jokes, but not the kidnapping, molestation, and rape of R. Kelly? And actually, in reality, he would take his own music off Spotify to protect R. Kelly?
Yeah.
Someone who's kidnapped,
a sexual predator,
and black women?
Oof, children.
Are you saying that he's done songs with other men who have potentially put hands on black women?
Not potentially, confirmed.
Wait a minute, convicted?
Yeah, I don't know what you call Chris Brown, but yeah, whatever that is. Not crazy.
Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
So I don't think I included that part of, like, basically when he started talking about this, like, one of the things that he mentioned was like, Kendrick, who's a part of, like, he's like, you're talking about a genre that's known for their lyrics being disrespectful and geared towards women, this, that, and the third. My whole thought process, and that y'all know I love to say this, two things can be true at the same time. Do I think points were made? Yes. Do I think this is a case of right message, wrong messenger? Absolutely. So my thing is, when I heard this, like, obviously I wanted to be bothered, but I was like, you know what, let me listen to this again before I sit here and go based off strictly off emotion, right? So let's, like, pretend like the whole Kendrick, Andrew Schulz, like, they're not even characters in this, right? For a second. My thought process, right? How can you expect other groups and other races to respect black women when we commonly see not all black men, but some and most black men don't respect us, right? I grew up watching Black men, comedians who dress up like Black women and do the stereotypical stuff. And don't get me wrong, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say I didn't chuckle sometimes, because sometimes it does resonate with me. I'm like, I did that last week. But it's like, if you made a whole career being that, like, I don't know if y'all remember watching Watermelon Andrea or Star Keisha, or like, all these other Black males who dressed up as Black women to make jokes and talk, like, make those jokes based off the stereotypes geared towards Black women. I can't say we haven't all watched that, because I've watched things like that. I've chuckled, I've laughed. There's times I just scroll past it. So like, my whole thing is like, when you have like, I feel like Black women are always the punchline of the joke all the time. And I feel like when it comes to Black women, I feel like we're always trying to battle everybody else, including people within our own communities. So it's just like, when he's sitting here saying like, you mean Kendrick did this, we're bringing them back into the equation now. So like, you're like, when he's saying like, you're coming from a genre, or like you're doing things with like people who done this to Black women, done that about Black women, and then you're going to make a song in your lyrics and you say, don't let no white comedian talk about Black women, that's law. It's like, make sure you, like I said, if you stand for nothing, you'll stand for anything, right? And if you stand for something, make sure that you stay firm in that belief, and that everything that you do equates to what you're standing for, So like, I'm not saying that Kendrick is wrong in this situation, but I'm saying like, I do see the points that are being made from both sides.
Okay, here's what I have to say. I think you're giving Andrew too much credit.
Oh,
let me finish. I don't think he cares about Black women. I don't think he's doing this to be like, oh, well, no, I'm the one that's here to save you. The same way he likes to make jokes and punch at other people, I think Kendrick has a right. If he felt, he didn't name names, he said what he said. I think he has a right to be able to do that. He is an artist, and as many artists do, they see what people are talking about and they create music based off of that, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, I do agree that especially in hip hop culture, a lot of the music is degrading to Black women, to women overall as well. So I'm not saying Kendrick is going to be the savior of all, Black women hate or whatever, but him singing that, like, is not a big deal. Like, the way he took it is like, well, sir, you always come for other people, so why can't they do the same to you? Like, he said that line, it's hip hop, is music, so get over it. Obviously he wanted to respond to it because he knew it would get clicks, and it did. You know what I'm saying? Here we are talking about it now, but he's not moving any tables either. So it's like, okay, and I'm not expecting him to, right? I think he is a white man, so whatever. But I also, like, what gets me mad is when we have these conversations and there's a Black man on that couch and he's mute. Like, what are you there for? And I'm not saying he should be the spokesperson for everybody, because I'm not the spokesperson for Afro Latinidad, right? Like, I'm not the spokesperson for Dominican people. I'm not the spokesperson for like Puerto Rican people. But like, if I see someone trying to drag or represent or say something about my community and I'm there, I'm going to say something. Like, I just think, what is he doing on that couch? If you're not going to say anything, like, now is the time where your voice mattered and you're there shut, doing nothing. Or maybe he did speak and I just, in our clip and the clips, whatever. But I'm like, yes, as a society, especially, like, we do need to do better, right? The music that we sing, but it's like, that also makes me mad because, like, well, when women hip hop artists that are women do take a ownership of their body, like Lotto and Megan, and they show their body and they do this, they are, blackballed, and they're like, oh, you're this, you're doing this. But it's like, men do it all the time. So God forbid now that women are now at the head of the table and leading the charge, they're dragged. But men been doing that for years. Okay? So it's like, whatever.
So I'm not giving Andrew Schulz any type of credit. I'm just saying the points that were made are points that I think about sometimes and like I agree with. Now, do I think that him saying that is giving like white savior? No. Do I think him saying that is basically trying to appeal to like make it seem like, well, Drake, well, Kendrick's doing this? I said Drake. Sorry, Drake. You not in this one right now. Like, is he sitting there saying like, oh, Kendrick's doing this, Kendrick's doing that? And is there going to be people who are good, like he's gonna gain fans off that because there's black men who think exactly like that, who be like, yeah, he's so right, right? So to your point, the black man sitting on the couch, right? I think that's kind of where I was kind of go with my point, where it's like, if you sit there as a black man who I'm assuming came from a black woman, I'm just thinking, right? I don't know him. I don't know his life. I always think like when people are like, black man ain't nothing. Black man is like, I have a black father. I have a Haitian black father. Like, I don't play about my family. And I think most of the time when people talk about people like in those negative types of forms, I think I would never let nobody say that to my mother. I think like that's a lot of where my standards come from, because it's like the respect I have for my mother, the respect I have for my father. Those are black people. Like, even though they're Haitian or whatever like that, when you look at them, you think they're just strictly black, right? The respect I have for them and the level of respect I will continue to have for them, I have that respect and thought process for a lot of black men and black women. I do not think that you should sit there and disrespecting them. I don't think that you should sit there generalizing anybody, to be honest, because as much as we could sit here and say white this, white that, that's not all white people. I know some good white people, and I know some ones who ain't worth a lick or a thought, right? So I just think if you're going to sit there and be the diversity marker, stand for something. If you allow that man to sit here talk about and say whatever he want about black people, right, wrong, or whatever, what are you doing there? You just sitting there to get a check. You hockey key, gums and teeth. And I think that's a lot of I think that's why a lot of times I think like when shits and gigs, when I think back to them, I think that's why they got so much like hate and flack, is because y'all sat there gums and teeth, and then your apology, you're like, we were uncomfortable. Like your actions don't echo that.
Yeah. And then also it's like, I'm not expecting someone to be, like I said, the spokesperson for it, but I just cannot imagine. If you talk about me and mine, my people, I'm gonna go off. And I sometimes understand that that's not for everybody, but I just can't imagine me staying shut in those situations. That's just it.
Right.